Welcome to the Fear and Greed Business News Afternoon Report for Monday, the 5th of August, 2024. I'm Sean Aylmer. Every afternoon, we've got the 5 stories that happened today that you need to know about. Story number 1, the S&P ASX200 tumbled 3.7% today to finish at 7,650 points as fears of a US recession and questions about tech stock valuations hit global markets. Tech stocks locally led the way down, with the technology index falling 6.6% today, while the financials, real estate and energy indices also got hit hard. 197 of the top 200 companies lost ground today. Commonwealth Bank and Macquarie Group fell more than 5%. National Australia Bank, Westpac and ANZ all dropped more than 4%. Interest rate sensitive stocks were certainly sold off. Property giant Goodman Group, for example, fell nearly 7%. Tech darling, or at least one time tech darling, WiseTech Global, it fell nearly 9%. Bond yields tumbled as well. 3-year bond yields are down 25 basis points to just over 3.4%. What that points to is that investors believe that over the next 3 years, the benchmark rate, which is currently 4.35%, will average about 3.4%, i.e. interest rates will fall. We'll know more about that tomorrow when the Reserve Bank finishes its board meeting. Story number 2, cryptocurrencies have sunk, with Bitcoin tumbling 10%. Cryptos don't do so well in uncertain times, hence Bitcoin today fell to around $54,000 a unit. For the last week, the tokens lost 13%. It's the opposite in the case of gold, which investors buy in uncertain times. It's trading around $24.50 a unit. A recession in the US, which is the world's top consumer of oil, would lower demand for Brent, and in futures trading, a barrel of oil fell to under $74. That was the lowest since the beginning of the year, but there's something else at play in oil markets: the crisis in the Middle East and fears of further military action that's working to push oil prices higher. So there are two powerful counter forces in the oil market at the moment. Finally, the Aussie dollar has been caught up in the rush to safe assets. It's now fetching just over 64 US cents, back around the lows of late last year. Story number 3, Ramsay Healthcare, the nation's largest operator of private hospitals, today warned of a drop in profit for the last financial year due to its underperforming European and UK businesses. Some of the poorer performance reflected one-off items and impairments, but the group said the underlying result has been driven by improving activity trends and labour productivity. Ramsay reports its official half-year earnings on 30th of August. Its share price ended down just 0.3% today. That was a pretty good effort given what the rest of the market did. Story number 4, TPG Telecom is once again in talks with Vocus over its fibre network, 9 months after a proposal to sell the network for $6.3 billion fell over. In a statement, TPG said shareholders should be aware that the 2023 discussions did not lead to a transaction. There's no certainty that these talks will lead to one either. Vocus has around 27,000 kilometres of fibre network, mostly in metropolitan areas. And story number 5, Israel is braced for a possible attack from Iran and regional militias in retaliation for assassinations of Hezbollah and Hamas officials, as the US sent defensive reinforcements while pressing for a Gaza ceasefire deal. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said at the start of a cabinet meeting that Israel is in a multi-front war against Iran's axis of evil. He said Israel's striking every one of its arms with great force and is prepared for any scenario, both offensively and defensively. The US, which is moving a fighter jet squadron to the region and keeping an aircraft carrier nearby to help Israel, is pressing Mr. Netanyahu to redouble negotiations for a ceasefire in Gaza to prevent the nearly 10-month-long war from escalating. According to Bloomberg, a group of 7 foreign ministers expressed concern about the risk of a wider regional crisis during a video call over the past 48 hours. That's it for the afternoon report for Monday, the 5th of August, 2024. Michael Thompson and I will be back tomorrow morning with the Tuesday edition of Fear and Greed Business News. I'm Sean Aylmer. Enjoy your evening.